It's not natural. If my favorite news source, TikTok, is telling the truth, then electric motorcycles and cars are all the rage right now. I've even heard of electric snowmobiles. But electric ATVs? Crickets. For most folk, ATV and UTVs are used for everyday tasks in all seasons, while recreational users just like getting in the mud. But out on the farms and on the trails, it's gas-powered motors doing all the hard work, not batteries. In contrast, the car industry is battery crazy, with Tesla leading the charge. Get it? Harley made the Livewire. Stark Future and its villainous-looking CEO created the fastest dirt bike ever. And here, in sunny Montreal, snowmobiles are going electric, thanks to Taiga. Are ATVs plugged into this environmentally friendly landscape? The benefits of going electric are obvious. You remove all the maintenance associated with an engine. No fluid changes, no messing around with parts. More time riding, more time on the trails. And that's a good thing. The other big benefit is the silent operation. It's not just what comes out of the exhaust pipe that pollutes, it's also the noise. More communities are becoming less welcoming to riders because loud machines upset the harmony many are paying top dollar to enjoy. So is anyone in the industry actually listening? They are, but for big manufacturers, it's not as easy as taking an electric power plant and dropping it into an existing frame and calling it a day. Polaris, who sold the most ATVs in 2020 globally, recognized the void and came out with all-electric options to their utility lineup in late 2021. The Ranger EV and Ranger Kinetic XP. The more basic Ranger EV has a 1,500-pound towing capacity and a bed that can hold 500 pounds. Figures that compare with the entry-level Ranger 500. While the Ranger Kinetic XP compares closest to the flagship gas model and does a little better with an extra 250 pounds in the bed. Both electric options are backwards compatible with accessories from the gas model. This all comes at a premium. So while the Ranger EV power figures are closer to the mid-tier gas 570 SP model, it performs and looks like the base 500, all while being more expensive than the 570 SP. Different story for the Kinetic XP, which performs better than a similarly outfitted gas model, which is probably why it's been sold out since early 2022. Polaris have Victory, Indian, and a bunch of other powersports brands under their belt. So could we see their technology spread across all their brands in the near future? Electric Chief, it's got a nice ring to it. Being among the earliest big brands to successfully release an EV UTV means you get dealer and customer feedback sooner, which makes it easier for them to map out future revisions and updates. Being the earliest in the pool has its benefits. BRP is promising to have an entire electric fleet by 2026. Sounds like a Volvo soundbite. And will inject $300 million over the next 5 years to do so. In 2019, they purchased select assets off of Alta. You know, the electric dirt bike company that Harley killed off. But still, no sketches or concepts of a quad. They did, however, mention a Rotax modular power pack that could be used across the entire EV lineup, but I haven't seen how that would work. So that's all talk. Since electric brought everybody back to the drawing board, smaller independent companies are entering the space with their own innovative takes. American companies like Stag and DRR have electric side-by-sides in the pipelines. With Volcon expecting deliveries of its 80-mile-per-hour capable Stag in summer 2023. UK company EcoCharger are making models which target the farming communities. Volcon aside, most of these indie options don't look so great, with build designs and features that are more in line with golf carts. So what happens when we get here? How do we keep them charged off-road? Charging stations on the trails? Will off-road clubs set aside an allowance to have charge stations set up along their routes if the demand is there? Better yet, how would that work off the grid? Solar? And isn't being off the grid the whole point? Rivian and Taiga both acknowledge that this is going to be an obstacle, with each having their own idea for an off-road charging network. But municipalities and government will have to bring power lines to said stations. While that's not impossible, who's going to fit the bill? Truth is, as the Ontario Federation of ATVs pointed out to us, we don't have gas stations on the trails, but rather they work with local towns and villages to have ATV access to pumps. And the Canadian Quad Council, who are big fans of electric ATVs and their improved impact on the environment, think that we should be focusing on improved signage, distance markers, and a rescue strategy in case someone gets caught out on the trail with no juice. What are you gonna do with no juice? So when the option is available, what will it cost? Based on what Polaris is putting out, electric off-road begins where mid-tier gas-powered models start. An entry-level Polaris EV starts at around $17K, with specs that compare closest to the $15K gas model. So $2,000 more to be quieter and easier to maintain, but limited in range. If you're invested, then you can always step up to the all-dressed model that produces 110 horsepower, with all the bells and whistles like a full-body skid plate, digital display, and an 80-mile range. But get your wallet ready. This thing is priced at $36,000, about $2,000 more than a similarly outfitted gas model. That's not a terrible difference. In comparison to the car industry, where the difference between gas and electric is much wider, this should be interesting to future ATV buyers. What about Canadian incentives for zero-emission vehicles? Does the Gov got love to give? If they were to shave off $1,000 or $2,000, it would put gas and electric on a more even playing field. But no, not for now. Since these are classified as recreational vehicles, no incentives. Quebec did, however, add 2 motorcycles to their list of electric incentivized vehicles. So, fingers crossed. The best-selling vehicle in North America is the Ford F-150. And now you could get that in an all-electric option. So if the biggest gas guzzler could do it, so can the smallest.